by all of these awesome ladies telling you what they have done already in their short career, they are now going to chit-chat with one of the best women pro bowlers in the world at this moment, Bryanna Coté. Current reigning PWBA Player of the Year, 6 shows this year, and 2 national titles. When the lanes turn on, you all start that motion of just not being able to walk to the line. I'm only kidding. I have some awesome individuals right here, and I want everyone to introduce themselves, except for you. I want everybody to introduce themselves, and I want you to tell the audience here something great about yourself. You start. I'll start. I'm CDB. I am. No, kidding. No, I'm CDB. I have 20 PWBA titles.
I'm Morgan Kahn. I have 1 SYC title. I'm Abby Sarkey, and I have 11 EYT titles. I'm Caitlin Stoll, and I have 3 SYC titles. I'm Gianna Brandolino, and I have 10 EYT titles.
So, by all of these awesome ladies telling you what they have done already in their short career, they are now going to chit-chat with one of the best women pro bowlers in the world at this moment, Bryanna Coté. Current reigning PWBA Player of the Year, 6 shows this year, and 2 national titles. So we're going to talk with Bryanna. Thank you for joining us today, Bryanna. Okay. And I was whispering with the girls earlier because I know some things, but I want them to learn from Bryanna. So I already told you 6 TV shows. 6. That's a lot. 2 national titles, right? And I bet you she's got some secrets as to her success or certain things she likes at home. So who wants to start asking questions?
So I know that you have a couple of dogs,
and I wanted to know what their names are and what kinds they are.
So I lost one of my dogs this year. But I think that was kind of a driving force to help me bowl well. So when I won in January, he was still alive. His name was Bucket, and he was named after the Bucket Spare. In college, I hated shooting that spare, and I was like, I'm going to get a dog, I'm going to love it, I'm going to make this spare all the time. It didn't work. It's still a really hard spare, but I loved my dog. I had him for 14 years. He was a great dog, and he taught me to be responsible. He taught me just be an adult and a grown-up. So in a way, he shaped me into who I am for whenever I have kids, and kind of my inspiration to bowl well this year. And I also, the dog that I still have, his name is Teddy. Teddy is a Morkie, so he's a multi-stroke, and he's a white little thing. He's a fireball. But he's, he keeps me sane when I'm at home too. He's really my husband's dog, but he's been really good since Bucket passed, and so they were my children. So they're always with me no matter what, whether they're here or not. So yeah, it's good to have since I don't have kids, they're my go-to vent to, and just when I don't want to deal with people.
They don't answer you back.
They don't answer you back. They just listen.
That's awesome.
So yes, it's good to have an animal or anything, kind of something special for you.
What's your favorite bowling accessory?
It's funny because Carolyn asked me this the other day. It's a turbo rev. So I don't know if you guys ever seen me wear it, or not a lot of people wear it, but it's just looks like a grip, and it goes on my index finger. It is because I like to grip a little bit with a little pressure right there, and if you ever callus right there, it's the most painful callus in the world. And it just protects my finger, and it's comfortable, and I can't bowl without it. So it doesn't fly off. People think it flies off, but it's cool, and just kind of an added thing that I put on every day.
So is everybody's running around looking for their rosin bag because they can't find it? You're running around.
Yeah, because like, I take it off so I can like write my scores, and I'm like, oh, what? I'm like, where's my little, like, I call it squishy. Like, where's my squishy thing? So yeah, it's pretty cool.
So I heard that you still go 14 pounds. Why is that?
You know, when I switched to 14 in 2017, everything just felt more natural, and I knew that in order to like step up my game, I had to be really versatile. I had to be able to change hand positions or ball speeds pretty much on the fly, and going down in that way really helped me do that more naturally without really thinking about it. When you're bowling, you always have enough to think about, really. So going down the weight, it was easier on my body, easier on my hand, and it just felt more natural. My rev rate went up a little bit, so that was kind of an added bonus for the girls' side. Rev rate, a little bit more rev rate definitely helps to try to get some extra hits. So it's helped. I think my carry just a little bit just for the fact that it changed my game and became more versatile.
I wanted to ask about goal setting. Like, how do you set goals for yourself?
Goal setting is, I think, something that pertains to each individual and kind of like what stage you are in bowling. So if you're just starting out, like leagues or tournaments or whatever you're starting, like you're starting just leagues, like if you're a little kid and you say, I want to just establish an average, and that's your basis, and then you kind of improve upon that from there. If you're bowling a lot of SYCs and maybe you're struggling, you just, maybe a goal is let's medal a round, and let's medal a couple rounds, and let's try to get the win. Like, so you need to make big baby steps. We all want the big goal. Like, we always want to win. But sometimes it's like a stepping stone to get there. Just like it is on tour, for example, you need to learn to make a cut. You need to learn to make the match play round. You need to learn to make a show, and then you need to learn how to win. So everything, whether you're starting in the youth division or you're all the way up to the pros, it's a stepping stone. Everything's a learning process. Some people get it right away, and they shoot out of the stars, like Stephanie Hall this year. She bowled so good, and they just have that success right away, and that's great. But the majority of the time, it takes a little bit of time and patience, and just know that you may be that 1 in a million, but you also just may be the one that they just need a little more patience and just learn what those stages are to get to what you want to be at.
What do you do to stay mentally calm when you know you're throwing the ball good, but you don't get the hits that you need?
That's very frustrating, especially on the ladies' side and the girls' side, when you see a lot of, if you're bowling next to men or bowling next to more power players, you see them striking a lot. You just have to take it as I'm doing everything I can in my power, in my control, to get my ball from point A to point B. And once it leaves my hand, it's out of my control, whether it's going to carry or not. And you can make your little, tweaks if you need to move a little, if you need to change some ball speed. But you just have to tell yourself that you are doing everything that you possibly can to make those pins fall. And if they don't want to fall that day, they're not going to fall that day. But there's going to be some days where it's like, all you have to do is touch the head pin and they're just falling like crazy. So bowling tends to balance out in the weirdest ways. So you just have to be patient. And be patient with yourself, be patient with the lanes. And just know that you're doing everything you can. You're doing your best, and that's all you can ever do in any given day.
I have a quick question that I think may pertain to all of you, since I watch all of you bowl all the time. How do you recover after a bad game? Which kind of goes to what you
funny.
said.
Like we were talking about that, how we were talking about how she didn't have a really good first game today, and I've been there. Like I told him, like my game one average on tour I think is like 170. Like I bowl bad game one all the time, and you just have, it's just one game. It's gonna happen. We're human. We're gonna not bowl good some days. We're not gonna bowl good some games. But you just have to let it be in the past, and you just have to focus on the present. Whatever happened, it's gone and done. Your score is your score. There's no changing it. As much as we would like to just white it out and be like, no, let's change that number. We can't do that. So you just have to focus on the next game. Maybe come up with a new game plan. And just focus on what's in front of you. And just deep breath and just try to, if you're allowed to listen to music, if you like music, listen to music to kind of get your mind in a different setting. Some people like to journal. Some people like to read. Some people just like to sit there and just collect their thoughts and just like give me 5 minutes to myself and kind of just reset your brain. Everyone's different, so I think you really have to learn what works good for you. And you just kind of know when you get into those situations, recognize it. Recognize that, oh my gosh, I'm trying to press or I'm trying to do too much. So you can stop and slow down your brain or slow down your process to get back on the track that you need to be on.
How do you mentally prepare for the tournament?
I think for me, I'm a little different because I don't do a lot of journaling. I don't do a lot of book reading. I'm pretty very headstrong, that I've just always been naturally that way. But I do like to listen to music. I do like to listen to music and kind of just try to get a song stuck in my head with either a good beat or just a good tempo and just focus on that and just kind of get that in my brain, so I'm very just like on that pace. So I would say music really just helps calm me if I'm feeling, nervous or anxious or overwhelmed, and just to kind of get lost in that kind of aspect of something different. So I'm not focusing so much on the bowling. I can just kind of get lost and do my own thing. So music really helps me stay mentally focused, I would say.
So when you were little, how did you get into bowling and when did you know that you really loved bowling as a passion?
Yeah, so I was 7, and my grandfather got me a bowling ball. It was a Mickey Mouse bowling ball, and it came from Reno. And I was really excited about it, and I was like, let's go bowling. I tried gymnastics, and I just couldn't do it. I just fell in love with it, and so I practiced when my parents and grandparents both ate. I would just go and bowl on the open lanes and practice, and I just wanted to get better. When I first started bowling, I threw backup ball, and I was like, why does my ball go the wrong way? And so I really wanted to learn how to curve it the right way. So I learned, and he taught me a lot of fundamentals, and a lot of it was just bowling events that you guys bowl, like SYCs and PWBAs and gold, just a lot of self-taught, just a lot of experience. And once I started competing, I just fell in love with it, and it was something that it was always going to be there in my getaway of any kind of life. Or I knew that if I always had to do well in school, so I could bowl. So it was just a driving force for me to just do well in general. And it's just something that I love to do. It can be love-hate sometimes, but I think that's with any sport that you play or tackle. But it's just, you're always learning, it's always evolving, because you only have so much control in bowling, and there's a lot of outside factors that you can't control, and I think that's what makes it really hard. You can't see the line conditions, you can't control what the pins do. So it's always a challenge, and I like challenges.
What was your favorite tour stop this year?
I would say probably Reno was, because my family was there, so I had my husband there, I had my parents and my grandparents, and I always wanted to bowl to win, but at the same time, it was good to be able to look back and have them there, because we couldn't really have spectators with COVID the first part of the year. My husband would like to go to more, but he just was like, a little expensive with things, so he didn't go to a lot. And my parents and my grandparents didn't really watch me bowl that much live because of COVID, and they really wanted to go, and so it was just nice to actually have them there to see it, because they took me everywhere when I was a kid, and they were a big support for me. And it kind of just was great that they could share that moment when I ended up winning Player of the Year, that they were there for us. So it was almost like it was all meant to be at that point. Of course, I wanted to win a tournament, but kind of unexpectedly falling into Player of the Year, just trying to be as consistent as I possibly could. It was very rewarding, and I was really grateful that they were there.
What's your favorite ball or go-to?
My go-to ball is a Storm Physics. So it's old, but it's just controllable. It's even. I know what it's going to do on pretty much anything. So it's like my benchmark ball. I start with it, and I kind of just work my way up or down from there. Everyone should kind of have that go-to benchmark ball that they have, and you're just like, I can't wait home without this. And I think over time though, that does change. Your go-to ball can change. The first couple of years, like 18, 19, my go-to ball was a high road. Like I had a high road that like no matter what, that's what I threw. I had on the rack. But as your game will change and you'll get more run rate or you'll get more speed, and so that benchmark ball you can change, and that's okay. You know, I still have that high road, so don't worry, it's not going anywhere. But my physics is the one that, you know, it's bailed me out. It's just been one that I just, you know, get a little too hopeful, like, come on, please let me play this week. And sometimes it's not, and that's okay. But I know what it's going to do, and it's a good starting point for me to figure out what the lanes are doing.
What's your favorite song or like your strike song?
So my strike song this year was "Sia Never Give Up." So I'm a big believer on just not giving up, no matter how good it is or how like ugly things can get. Just keep moving forward and find a way to learn from it. You know, whether you're, you know, on the last page of the standings and you know you have no chance to make the cut, still try to figure out what the lanes are doing. Try to figure out maybe what's going on with you physically. Like if it's just, you know, just having a bad day, I'm not feeling well today. Just know that, like, recognize those things and try to learn from them. Because I think being self-accountable with yourself is really important to your success. That way you know, like, it's okay that you're human. It's okay that you're going to make mistakes. But acknowledge that, and I think you'll learn from it a lot quicker the next time.
That's a good tidbit of knowledge, don't you think? So now tomorrow, when you come in and you're getting ready to play your last round, you now know what you have to do. Let that bad game go, but not saying any of you are going to have a bad game, right? Positive thoughts, right? Get a little song in your head, so when I see you guys going like this,
Yeah, when they're like
sitting in your seat,
out,
right?
Kind of just get lost in it.
Exactly,
Not
we're going to know
focusing on
what you're
all,
doing.
like, oh my gosh, I gotta sit here. This, I gotta, I'm like, no.
Exactly.
It's overwhelming.
And what would you say is the most important one that she mentioned? What would be the most important, or something that you remember? What would be yours? The goal setting? Goal setting? Goal setting?
Having something
Okay, have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
and finding it for yourself.
There you go.
Have something different.
I love it. And mine, don't ever give up. Because one game does not make or break a tournament.
Does not.
One game does not. Don't ever give up. If you have 5 games and you have one that's not so great, you still have
Still got
4.
4 more.
So don't ever give up. You guys are awesome. Thanks for joining me with Bryanna,
Thanks for hanging out.
right? So let's just say thank you, Bryanna.
Thanks,
There you
girls.
go.
Whatever you need, I'm still here.
There
so
you go.
I'll help you guys.
More questions. Thanks for watching.